I built a huge LEGO World War II German airfield diorama. It includes 2 vehicles, nearly 20 minifigures and a huge house, which even comes with an interior. So let's see how I made all of this. Let's start building the house. I've therefore came up with a new technique and wanted to recreate a house which looked like a wooden house. I've therefore placed these tiles at the plates at first and then used these modified bricks, which will be very helpful in a second. After building the first frame of the house, which I've made mainly by using these 2x2 rounded bricks, I was able to connect these at the modified bricks. I've then used the same technique to build all walls of the house and even included windows here and there. And again, the wall connects like so. Every house needs an entrance, and here's how I've made the one for this house. I've used medium nougat pieces to create some contrast between the house walls and the door. I've then mirrored all the walls and connected them to the base plates. To give the house a unique look, I've decided to give the front part of it a sloped roof. I've therefore used these 2x2 slopes in reddish brown and again connected a modified brick to it, which allowed me to connect all the walls which were needed. I've then placed all of this at the rest of the house. Now I just had to build the final roof of the house, and I've again therefore used these reddish brown 2x2 slopes as well as these 1x2 slopes. After finishing the frame of it, the rest of the work was pretty repetitive, so let's finish this real quick, and after that add all the 1x6 tiles in reddish brown to give the house a clean and nice look. Before I will add the finished house to 2 base plates, let me quickly introduce you to the Bricks of Valor Advent Calendar of 2025. It includes all the pieces which you will need for this Sd.Kfz 10/4, as well as 4 custom printed minifigures and brick arms accessories to gear all of these out, and of course also helmets and hats. The calendar includes a product value of 250 euros, but we want to offer this to the community for only 160 euros. I've always wanted to buy a cool custom military advent calendar but never found one, so I've decided to make our own, and here it is. If you want to know more about this project, I highly recommend our Instagram channel. But let's continue with the video. As I wanted to place that house at an angle, I've used these wedge plates at a 45 degrees angle and implemented all of this into the build. It definitely wasn't that easy covering all the gaps, but in the end I'm really satisfied with the outcome. Once this was finally done, I've started building the landscape and added these green plates to the base plate. I've then grabbed all my grass pieces and built this huge field, which definitely took way longer than you see. Next I've grabbed a bunch of grey round plates and tiles to build a small pathway right next to the house. Beside the cool look, it even allows me to cover all the rest of the annoying gaps right next to the wedge plates, as you can see. I've therefore used a combination of these 2x2 rounded tiles, rounded plates, as well as rounded 1x1 plates and tiles. As I only have like 5 days left to publish this video, I've even needed to build in the evening. But I just had so much fun with this project that this was not a problem for me. The house and its pathway is finally done, at least the exterior. But we just began with all the landscape, so let's continue it. I've therefore again used my good old friend, the wedged plate. I've then repeated the same step which I did at the other side and added all of these green plates. I've then again added all of the green grass pieces, but this time I've also decided to complement some purple flowers in there. I've afterwards also added these to the other side of the field, so don't worry, everything fits together. A new day, but nothing changed, I'm still building this mock. But let's get into this trench design I've prepared for you. I've added a bunch of these dark tan headlight bricks which allowed me to place all the plates sideways. I've then completed the trench by adding final wedge plates, and it's already done. I've then finally started building the huge airfield, which I will use mainly dark tan for. But at first I've raised the area right next to the trench because I needed this to perfectly fit 2 minifigures in there. As you can see, 2 German soldiers with a MG42 Lafette are taking care of the building. This means the trench is done and we can finally build the huge airfield. I've therefore mainly used dark tan, but also implemented a lot of green spots by using these cheese slopes, which allowed me to create super smooth transitions between the green and dark tan part. But now you can see how all of this came together. If you want to use this technique as well and to give you a better idea how to do it, here's a close-up shot of it. About half of the airfield is done, so I thought to add the first vehicle to the build, which is the Sd.Kfz/4. And yes, this is the vehicle which also is included in the advent calendar, but this time it is in fully dark grey. I've manned it with 3 anti-aircraft Luftwaffe soldiers. Let's start with part 2 of watching me stacking hundreds of dark tan and green pieces together. Finally, everything is completed and we can add the Stuka made by Tiger 131 to the airfield. I am absolutely in love with this model and glad to include it into this airfield mock. To give the mock all the details it deserved, I want to build some custom made crates next. And to also give you the possibility to make them by your own, I've even included this full tutorial. So at first I've used these 2 modified bricks with 4 studs on each side and then attached these 2x2 reddish brown tiles to it. If you have 2x4 reddish brown tiles on hand, you don't even need that bar piece as well as the pin, because you then can only fit the 2 modified bricks at it. But since I didn't have a lot of these on hand, I've needed to use the bar piece as well. As I also had 1 2x4 tile in reddish brown on hand, I want to demonstrate real quick which are the perks of using that piece. As you can see, I've also again added these modified bricks at the plate, but this time I was able to add 1x1 tiles at both sides. This makes the crate look a bit cleaner, but hey, if you don't have the 2x4 tiles on hand, you can also go with the 2x2 tiles. By the way, the technique of course also works for 2x2 crates. One final detail I want to show you, that I have some printed 2x4 tiles on hand, which make the crates look even better. So let's add our freshly made crates to the build. I've stacked a bunch of these and placed the printed ones on top. I've then placed the smaller crates right here and of course the printed one on top. And here's the final crate, which has MG42 ammunition in. I've then prepared this small bench. I've took the legs of this Fallschirmjäger, but no worries, I've then added them again. This just looks like he is sitting on the bench and I really like that look. These Fallschirmjägers just came back from a mission and are heavily exhausted. That's why they are taking a break and also smoking a cigarette. They are also injured and one took off his helmet. I've added this 1x1 stud onto his hand and then attached the helmet to it. This looks like he is carrying his helmet in the hand. The exterior is nearly done, but hey, we still need to build that interior, so let's do this real quick. I've started building a carpet out of white and dark orange tiles. An interior of course needs furniture, so let's build this commode real quick. I've added these jumper plates and tiles and then was able to add some small candles on top of it. Next I built a huge table where all officers are coming together. I've used these bar pieces which work as legs. Beside that I've also made this antique clock. This printed Lego piece came in pretty handy to finish the clock. I've then continued building some more commodes as well as building the floor, which is made out of wood as everything else of the house. I've then built a few seats which actually match the color of the carpet. The interior is nearly done and all figures are ready to be placed in there. And here's our Luftwaffe commandant, which has the command of all the soldiers which are seen in this mock. Of course he needs a map to discuss further plans. Next I've added all the chairs. Remembering the Sd.Kfz/4 crew, here's our anti-aircraft commander smoking a cigarette. Here's our Luftwaffe Field Division commander, its crewman, and the Fallschirmjäger commander who also came back from the mission and its crew waiting exhausted outside of the headquarters. As it will be difficult to see all the details in the house, I've decided to film already the interior right here. But let's add it to the build. By the way, if you haven't already, feel free to like, comment and subscribe. Thank you. As you can see, all of this perfectly fits in there. Now only the chimney of the house is missing, so let's build it real quick. I've even added some smoke effects. And the final touch are these trees, which I will add to the mock now. Only some minifigures are missing, and of course the pilot of the Stuka. I've therefore prepared the small ladder, which allows him to get into the airplane. And here are our final 3 Luftwaffe Field Division soldiers, which are ready to go onto a patrol. After endless hours of work, I can finally present to you my version of a World War II German airfield at the Eastern Front right before the invasion of Kursk.